Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. We're here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, and we are here every single night, Monday to Friday, talking about the biggest issues that you care about, talking about the biggest, most controversial, most extraordinary ideas that you're thinking about. We're here to talk about what's going on in our culture, in our schools, in our worlds. This is not a podcast. This is not a TV show. This is a global classroom. I want to shout out some people who are here for night school. Y'all have marked yourselves present, and I'm happy to see y'all so much. We got Jazz LP, rather, who is here in the building, present and accounted for as always. We got two new members too. I want to shout out Rahma Grant, and I want to shout out Hassan Khalid, both of whom just became Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel members. Wanda Chapman is in the building. Beyond Salam is here. Channel Change Wave is here. Brianna Chambers is here. Kime Aboyade Acosta is here. Rose Ability is in the building. Farah is here. Sahur 67. Olivia Garnett. There's so many y'all here. Coyote Hole. Karen D. Excuse me, I'm not reading well today. R is here. We got so many people. Sahur, again, I think I shouted you out already. But yo, I appreciate all y'all for coming through and being members of the channel. The work that you all do to hold us down every single night is dope, man. When I come in this room, it's not just me and some people. Barazita Brujita is here. Chantel Bateman is here. It's so dope to see y'all in the room. It's so dope to have conversation with y'all, but it's also dope to see the community that you all have formed in this room for yourselves. It's all part of the channel. It's all part of Night School. And so I am excited. I am happy, overjoyed, in fact, to be here with you. But tonight in Night School, we're going to talk about some issues that I think are crazy going on in the world. Herman, let me shout out a couple more, y'all. Herman Gill, I know I shouted you out, Barazita Brujita. Shia, Beth Evans, Herman Gill, Literally Fake, C Shada, my sister's here. Kimi Abiyade, Baby K is here. Chad Zickman is here. DP is here. Jennifer Serenity. We got a lot of new members here. Henry Jackson. Yo, I'm so grateful for all y'all. India's in the building. So many of y'all, man, came through to show love on the channel, including Jeffrey Bowers. That's the last shout out for the right now. But look, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the work that y'all do. I appreciate the contribution y'all make to the channel. I just want to say that and thank you. And if you want to be a member that's getting shouted out, along with a whole bunch of other cool stuff, make sure you hit the join button and become a member of the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. But here at Night School, we cover a lot of different topics: culture, politics, education. But there's a couple stories tonight that I want to really focus on, that I think are just wild. They reflect a moment that we're in right now in our history, in our culture, that I can't say I'm surprised about, given how repressive this regime is, given how anti-intellectual this moment is, given how fascist or proto-fascist this moment is. I can't say that I'm surprised at some of the things that are going on. But despite the lack of surprise, I still am nonetheless disappointed that we're in this moment where ideas, where free speech, where freedom of association are literally under attack, literally under assault. We are in a moment where, despite the fact that the right pretends to be about the dangerous ideas and pretends to be about free speech and pretends to be about radical truth-telling, they only want ideas that they care about. They only want, association with the organizations and the movements that they value. They only want unpopular ideas if they reinforce their beliefs about the world and their positions on the world. And so I don't, I'm never surprised when I see some of the craziness that happens in the world, but I am especially shocked tonight, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you this person, and y'all let me know if you know the story or not. Do y'all know this young woman? Do y'all know this young woman right here? Tell me if you do. It's possible that you don't, but that's also a problem, because we need to be out here speaking the truth for everybody. This woman's name is all over the University of South Carolina, excuse me, University of Southern California campus. Her name is Esna Tebessum. Esna Tebessum. Are you familiar with her? Well, she is the valedictorian of the University of Southern California. She is the valedictorian of USC. I'm seeing in the comments, y'all don't know who she is. So you know what? Let me reset. Matter of fact, let me reset anyways, because my editors and my producers be mad because I'd be so excited to talk to y'all in the live conversation that I don't necessarily make the video nice and clean and cool for later. And I don't really care about that. I'm not out here trying to make TV. I'm trying to teach. But I will comply just this once. I will comply just this once, and I will offer a more sophisticated presentation. All right. Let's start from here. 3, 2, 1. A pro-Palestine valedictorian has been silenced by the University of South Carolina. This image you see right here, courtesy of CARE, the Council for American Islamic Relations in California, shows a campaign right now to reinstate Esna Tebessum. Esna Tebessum is the valedictorian of the University of Southern California, also known as USC. Y'all know who she is, or if you don't know who she is, you know that she is the valedictorian and her speech has been canceled. And the reason her speech has been canceled is not because she committed some crime. It's not because she even said anything that was offensive to people, but people have decided that Esna Tebessum, who obviously is Muslim, cannot be the graduation speaker, cannot be the valedictorian speaker at the graduation. Why? Well, because after it was announced that she was going to be the graduation speaker, people started investigating her. Why did they investigate Esna Tebessum with the hijab on? I have no idea. I can't imagine why they would be investigating this young woman, but they investigated her. And after investigating her, they found that on her Instagram biography, God forbid, on her Instagram biography, she was linking to this page that you see right here that says Palestine. Learn about what's in Palestine and how to help. She literally links people to a page that gives an introduction about what's going on in Palestine. And it's called they link you to Decolonize Palestine. They say Palestine is a country located in the Levant in Western Asia. It borders Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. And currently it is being occupied by the State of Israel, a Jewish ethno-state established by Zionists in 1948. Now, apparently, that was just too much. That was apparently too much. So because of this, literally because of this page, Esna Tebessum is no longer going to be the graduation speaker. Why, you might ask? It's a reasonable question. I would ask the same question. I did ask the same question. Well, what happened was some student groups saw that page that you just saw. They saw the page that you're looking at. And they decided that this page right here that has like a paragraph about Palestine, it's not anti-Semitic, it's not violent, it's not disrespectful. Yes, it refers to Palestine as a country in the Levant that borders Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. And it's currently occupied by the State of Israel, a Jewish ethno-state established by Zionists in 1948. Israel was established by Zionists. It is a Jewish ethno-state. It's occupied by the State of Israel. Now, they might say it's not occupied if they're referring to, it depends on how you define Palestine, right? They might say Gaza is not occupied, although it's an effective occupation. But that's certainly not something to ban a speaker over. The West Bank is occupied. The goal line is occupied. Right? I mean, you don't ban a speaker simply because they presented a link. They didn't even write this. The girl posted a link to this page. The young woman posted a link to this page. And because she posted a link to this page, this woman right here, Esna Tebessum, is now no longer allowed to be the graduation speaker. She's now no longer allowed to be the graduation speaker. Student groups and other on-campus clubs, such as Chabad and Trojans for Israel, said that the school should reconsider the valedictorian. Did she cheat on the test? No. Was her grade point average not right? Nope. That wasn't the problem. They don't like the fact that she linked to a page that had a critique of Israel or even just an analysis of Israel. So now, despite having a GPA greater than 3.980, being an excellent student in biomedical engineering was her major, despite contributing to both university and community life, and submitting a reflective essay about her time at USC, and everybody loved her. They loved what she submitted. They thought she made a great case. She's been an advocate for the community. She's served the Muslim Student Union and the mobile clinic at USC. So she's done public health stuff. She's done all of the things. And they decided that she could not be the valedictorian. This is shameful. This is shameful. And here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. The university took the most cowardly approach possible. I want you to read this. This is a letter from the provost's office that they sent to the entire university community today. Important update on 2024 commencement. Yeah. Don't show us the images of processions and pomp and circumstance. Get to it, right? It's a whole bunch of blah, blah, blah about why campus is about graduation, how wonderful it is. Then it's a bunch of blah, blah, blah about how many people are showing up. And they say because of USC's size and scale, commencement week is also, the most challenging time of the year for our Department of Public Safety, who work tirelessly and effectively to keep our campuses the safe places that they are. The Office of the Provost is involved in commencement in many ways, including the selection of our undergraduate valedictorian. Here it is. Unfortunately, over the past several days, discussion related to the selection of our valedictorian has taken on an alarming tenor. The intensity of feelings fueled by both social media and the ongoing conflict in the Middle East has grown to include many voices outside of USC and has escalated to the point of creating substantial risks relating to security and disruption at commencement. We cannot ignore the fact that similar risks have led to harassment and even violence at other campuses. So basically, people are mad at who we chose for the valedictorian, and it's making people angry because we got a Muslim who, she appears to be South Asian to me. I don't even understand her to be from the Middle East, but regardless, there's, racist people don't care about that. They're saying because of this, we can't ignore the risks that are now being posed. There's a security threat because people are mad that we chose a Muslim woman to be this. So they give a whole spiel just to say this. After careful consideration, we have decided that our student valedictorian will not deliver a speech at commencement. While this is disappointing, tradition must give way to safety. This decision is not only necessary to maintain the safety of our campus and students, but is consistent with the fundamental legal obligation, including the expectations of federal regulators, that universities act to protect students and keep our communities safe. It applies the same values and criteria that we have used in the past to guide our actions. In no ways does it diminish the remarkable academic achievements of any student considered or selected for valedictorian. Notice they're not even saying her name. They're speaking in these vague, gross generalities about who and what she is. To be clear, this decision has nothing to do with freedom of speech. right. There is no free speech entitlement to speak at a commencement. The issue here is how to best maintain campus security and safety, period. So the university is basically saying, we would love to have her. We would love to have this young lady. We'd love it. But we can't do it because if we were to do it, it would be unsafe. Now, this young woman was chosen from nearly 100 applications that were submitted from among the more than 200 graduating seniors who qualified for consideration based on GPA, again, higher than 3.98. The provost made the final decision based on faculty recommendations. That means the faculty supported this, the provost approved it. And now, because a couple of campus groups say they don't want any parts of it because of what's going on in the Middle East, you can't choose an Indian, or I'm not sure she's Indian. You can't choose a South Asian. I'm going to assume she's South Asian. You can't choose a South Asian Muslim woman because of the unrest that's happening in Israel and Palestine. But let's say she was Palestinian. I can't pick a Palestinian. Would we say we can't pick an Israeli student because of what's happening in Israel, Palestine? Would we say we couldn't choose a Jewish American student because of what's happening in Israel, Palestine? Because it would upset somebody? Are you telling me that we wouldn't allow a Zionist student to be the valedictorian because of what's happening? Because Palestinian students would be upset? Of course not. Of course not. No one's buying that. And one person who was especially not buying it is Esna Tebessum, the girl herself, the young lady herself. She issued her own statement. I'm so proud of this young woman. I'm so proud of this young woman who made a statement that is on the CARE California website. She said, I'm honored to have been selected as USC class of 2024 valedictorian. Although this should have been a time of celebration for my family, friends, professors, and classmates, anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian voices have subjected me to a campaign of racist hatred because of my uncompromising belief in human rights for all. Again, the woman's not even taking a particularly radical stance here. She simply linked to a page that said they would teach you about Palestine. That's literally all it takes. That's literally all it takes. And she says that she's now been unseated as valedictorian. She said, I'm not surprised by those who attempt to propagate hatred. I'm surprised that my own university, my home for 4 years, has abandoned me. Now, I want y'all to understand something, because I want you to see how these universities work, because this is the disgusting part. In a meeting with the USC provost and the associate senior vice president of safety and risk assurance, she said she met with them yesterday, April 14th. She said, I asked about the alleged safety concerns. I was told that the university had the resources to take appropriate safety measures for my valedictory speech, but that they would not be doing so since increased security protections is not what the university wants to present as an image. I'm gonna say that again, because this is crucial. The university said, this is wild, actually. The university basically said, we could protect you, but if we have the security measures in place for your speech, we don't like how it would look. We don't like how it would look to have an armed guard next to the valedictorian. We don't like how it would look to have security in front of the stage. We don't like to have a bulletproof vest in front of the podium. Bulletproof glass, excuse me, in front of the podium. That's basically what they're saying. Now, look, as a university president, I probably wouldn't want that either. I ain't gonna hold you. I wouldn't want that either. Oh, by the way, yes, she says later in this letter, she says she's a first generation South Asian American Muslim. That's what I thought. Okay. This woman was chosen as valedictorian. And in her high moment, or what should be her high moment of celebration and glory and praise and love and admiration and applause on graduation day, they say to her, well, you know what? There are a lot of people who hate Muslims. There are a lot of people who are mad at you for getting chosen, not because of anything you said or did, but because, or maybe because you put a link to a page about Palestine, but not even particularly radical. And yeah, people are saying they might want to hurt you. And yeah, we could protect you from the people who want to hurt you. But if we protect you from the people who are going to hurt you for being Muslim and being pro-Palestine, then it'll make us look bad because that we had to protect a student from races. Because the truth is, USC doesn't want the world to know that they have that many races that they need to protect Muslims from. USC doesn't want there to be any awareness that this is what's happening. This is embarrassing under normal circumstances. Can you imagine a white male Christian who was the graduation speaker and somebody called and said, you know what, we're anti-Christian. We're questioning this Christian person's ties. And there's some rumblings and death threats or letters or rumors of death threats. You think the school says, you know what, well, we're going to set, I'm sorry, Mr. White Male Christian, we're not going to let you be the valedictorian. We're not going to let you give a valedictory speech. We're going to have to end your speech because to protect you from these anti-Christian, anti-white voices, we'd have to have security, and security looks bad. And we don't want people to know that we need it. So we're not going to do it. I mean, come on. It wouldn't happen to a Christian. It wouldn't happen to a Jew. It wouldn't happen to an atheist. Wouldn't happen to a white man. Wouldn't happen to a white woman. But somehow it's okay to do this to this young woman. They have stolen a great moment, an incomparably great moment from this young woman's life. It's bad enough that the haters were given a platform, that they were given voice. But what's even worse is that once the haters stood up and expressed their concerns, these concerns were treated as legitimate. These concerns were treated as proper. I mean, shit, they actually acquiesced. So what stops the hater the next time? What stops the Islamophobe from stepping in and stopping a faculty hire, a public speaker, a guest speaker, like from another university or from outside the university community? What stops them from scaring people who are first-year students who are brown or Muslim? We're going to block admissions now? We're blocking public speeches. Now, the university's right. There's no First Amendment right to a valedictory speech. That's true. Her First Amendment rights in general aren't being violated. But the question is, what kind of campus climate are you producing? What kind of story are you telling about your university and who y'all are? What y'all are? That's the part that worries me, to be honest. That's the part that scares me, to be honest, is that campuses are increasingly comfortable saying, yeah, we're a place where Muslims can't speak. We're a place that gives in to pressure. And whatever's going on in Gaza right now will eventually, inshallah, end. But when it does, will we continue to have to deal with the remains, the afterlife of this campaign against free speech, the afterlife of this project of silencing? What are we going to do? That's all I'm saying, y'all. I'm not happy about it. I'm frustrated by it. This is shameful. This is absolutely shameful. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, y'all, let's move on to another story, because higher education is frustrating the hell out of me today. Higher education is frustrating the hell out of me today. A tenured professor was removed from the classroom over writing a pro-Palestinian essay. Oh my God. Yes, I am not exaggerating. This woman that you're looking at right now, her name is Jody Dean, and she is a tenured professor and a well-known, well-regarded political theorist at um, at Hobart and William Smith colleges. That's a college in Geneva, New York. And what they've said is, so far, that they have temporarily removed Professor Dean from her classroom because of an article that she wrote celebrating Palestinian resistance to Israel. I know sometimes when I tell you all these stories, y'all like, he must be leaving something out. He must be not telling us something. There must be a missing piece, because there's no way that somebody got taken out of their classroom who's tenured. There's no way that somebody got stopped in the middle of a semester because of an article they wrote. Well, I wish I could tell you that I'm not telling you everything. I wish I could tell you that I'm leaving something out. Let me show you the article. A couple weeks ago on Verso Books blog, actually a week ago, Jody Dean, again, professor at a serious liberal arts institution, Hobart and William Smith colleges in Geneva, New York. She writes a blog called Palestine Speaks for Everyone. And the byline here says, against those who would separate good and bad Palestinians resisting occupation and onslaught, Jody Dean writes in defense of the radical universal emancipation embodied in the Palestinian cause. And I won't, y'all can find the article yourselves, but basically what she talks about is her own kind of response to the Hamas invasion of Israeli territory, the Hamas attacks on October 7th, from the paragliders to the shock of the Israeli military. She invokes people like Leila Khalid and others. And in this piece, which she writes, you know, and you can even see it, this image is a kind of index of what kind of time she's on as a writer. But Jody Dean writes this piece. Again, you may disagree with the piece. She said some things that some people are going to find controversial. She said some things that people are going to find problematic. You know, I think the most problematic line in the whole blog, or not the most controversial line in the whole blog, was when she said in the first line, the images from October 7th of paragliders evading Israeli air defenses were for many of us exhilarating. So she said watching the Israeli paragliders evade Israeli air defenses were exhilarating. She said, here were moments of freedom that defeated Zionist expectations of submission to occupation and siege. In them, we witnessed seemingly impossible acts of bravery and defiance in the face of the certain knowledge of the devastation that would follow. So she's celebrating and honoring Hamas for their attacks on October 7th. Now, you can agree with her, you can disagree with her. I'm not telling you how to feel about this woman. I'm not telling you how to feel about her blog. I'm not telling you how to feel about anything. But what I am telling you is the fact that she wrote that blog should not be the reason why she could be out of a job. She writes that, and I guess people complain. And the university announces that this woman, who is a professor, she's had endowed chairs in politics, that she will not be teaching for the rest of the semester while the school completes an investigation. That's what the president of the university stepped up and says. Now, you know, the president of a university is in charge of not just setting the kind of course for the university and being the face of the university. The provost runs a lot of the day-to-day academic stuff, right? But the president is the fundraiser, the president is the face, the president is the one who catches the heat when things don't go well, and the one who gets the love and the praise when things do go well. That's just how universities work. Well, this president, of course, quick to make it very clear that he's not feeling her words. Again, he could have said nothing, but he says we can never and will never condone or praise violence, particularly when that violence is directed at individuals based on their religion, race, or national origin. Now, that comment seems harmless and empty and like a paint by the numbers university administrator response, but it's not. First of all, university president didn't have to comment on Professor Dean's comment at all. And I've been here. I've been in this exact place. But he made a point to signal to the world, to donors, to the press, to anybody who would be watching this, that he disagreed with Professor Dean. And again, he also has free speech rights. The president, in his capacity as a scholar or as an individual person, can absolutely say, yo, I don't agree with what this woman said. Cool. But when you take a person down, and by take them down, I mean like you literally take them out of their classroom, you temporarily suspend them, and then on top of that, you say we can never and will never condone or praise violence. Which is interesting, right? We can never condone or praise violence. So you can condone what kind? It's an interesting choice. It's hard to imagine that a university never condones violence. I wonder where the university was during the Iraq War or during the Persian Gulf War, or what is an old school university. What would they have said during Vietnam? What were they saying during these other moments? What did they say in response to police violence? What did they say in response to U.S. imperial violence, right? Are they always vocal about those people who condone or praise violence? Are they challenging right-wing faculty who are war hawks and warmongers, people who praise the invasion of Iraq? Probably not. And then they say, particularly when that violence is directed at individuals based on their religion, race, or national origin, which again frames this as anti-Semitic. That's the argument. Now, you can say a lot of things about Hamas, and there are lots of things to be said, and I certainly have made the argument that Hamas is engaging in gross war crimes and contraventions of international law on October 7th. I have no problem saying that. I don't believe history began on October 7th, and I don't have an exclusive critique of Hamas. I look at everybody in the region, and I look at all the pieces and how they connect. But ultimately, I'm focused in prioritizing the oppression of Palestinians with regard to the Israel-Palestine question, because they're the ones who are under the thumb of a settler colonial enterprise. And Hamas is not a global caliphate. Hamas isn't trying to make everybody in the world Muslim, and Hamas isn't trying to attack Jews because they're Jewish. They believe that Israel is an occupying force, and they're at war with Israel. Now, again, I have disagreements with Hamas about civilian targets, about what constitutes a military target, about what constitutes a civilian target, about what to do with hostages. I disagree with Hamas on all those issues I just said. So I'm not supporting or endorsing Hamas, but there is room and space for nuance here, right? It's not good guy, bad guy, saying pro wrestling. But again, you might disagree with my point. You might disagree with my analysis. That's all fair game in the university, except for Palestine. Jody Good hasn't been permitted to have an opinion on Palestine. And if you think I'm reading into this wrong, check out the provost, Sarah Kirk, who followed up on the president's remarks and said that colleges are obligated under Title VI, a federal anti-discrimination law, to investigate potential, quote, hostile environments involving national origin, shared ancestry, or other protected classes. So now they're suggesting that because this woman wrote a critical article about Israel and wrote a piece that praises Hamas, again, would I write a piece that praises Hamas? No, it wouldn't be my political choice, right? It's not my perspective. But because you write one, does that mean that I've created a hostile climate at work. Does that mean that a professor that wears a MAGA hat and makes all the black people uncomfortable and uneasy? Are they creating a hostile climate? Should they be removed from their posts? When the bell curve came out, which was some intellectual pseudoscience BS that basically made black people inferior, that was a national bestseller. You know, people all over the world debated it and discussed it. It was a serious book written by a psychologist named Richard Herdenstein and a political scientist named Charles Murray. And lots of people were outraged. Lots of people were offended. Lots of people were insulted. Because the book was making connections between race and intelligence, ultimately, taking us back to a kind of eugenicist moment. But nobody said, oh my God, what's the campus climate going to be like in a place where the professors think that black people aren't as smart because they're black? No, then it's free speech. Then it's academic integrity and autonomy. It's you can say what you want. I defend to death your right to say it. Ain't that what the right wingers say? I disagree with you, but I defend to the death your right to say it. That's what they tell us. And yet, when it comes to left-wing ideas, when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to critiques of empire, now everybody's a snowflake. Now nobody can take a real critique. Now it's, oh my God, what will that do for the school climate? I'm sure those kids, those students, I mean, I call them kids, they're grown, sort of. I'm sure those students at Hobart and William Smith colleges were not randomly looking up blogs on their political science professor to see if they'd written anything objectionable about Hamas. I suspect that's not how that went down. What actually happens, and this happens to me every day, is if you say something that people don't like on social media, they tag your job or they call the job or they write an email to the job. They had a whole department at Temple University reserved just for fielding calls about my crazy ass. And universities fold. Universities fold. They don't want the smoke. They don't want the beef. They don't want the controversy. They don't want the bad press. And so university administrators, the ones who don't have any integrity, they will very, very quickly throw you under the bus. They will very, very quickly give some perfunctory nod to free speech. Oh, I respect Professor, Smith's right to free speech. We also want to say that we don't support anti-Semitism in any form or fashion. Okay. Why are we having that conversation? None of us support anti-Semitism, right? We're all on the same page here. But when you say you support my right to free speech as an academic and then follow it with you oppose anti-Semitism or you oppose harming people because of their national origin or religion or race, you're basically inviting the reader to believe that you think that's what that professor's doing. When did universities become so afraid of ideas? Oh, I remember when the right was complaining about all the crazy radical professors. Where they at, though? People are asking, Mark, how do we advocate for her? Do we call the provost or the dean? You should call the provost's office. You should call the dean's office. You should call the department chair's office. You should call the board. You should also call the media. We will put as much attention and spotlight on what's happening as possible. See, Shada, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Yo, when y'all gift memberships, it'd be so beautiful. It'd be such love. I'm so grateful. Thank y'all. Somebody said, is it hostility against Christians to oppose Zionism equivalent? The Ku Klux Klan always use religion to show their hate and violence too. I would reject that characterization. One, I don't think Zionism is equivalent to the Klan. Not even modern political Zionism, which is the kind of primary articulation of Zionism in the modern era, is political Zionism, the movement that produced ultimately the construction of the state of Israel. I wouldn't say they're like the Klan. And I'm not, and it says Klan always use religion to show their hate and violence too. I don't see the primary narrative coming from Zionists to be religious. Y'all should check out a video I made a few months ago called 5 Myths about Israel and Hamas, where I talk about this. This idea that this is a religious struggle or that this is a religious battle is simply historically inaccurate, and it's misleading. It's a struggle over land. It's a struggle over property. It's a struggle over resources. I don't accept that this is about religion or the Zion. And remember, the early Zionists were atheists. They were secular at best. Many were atheists. They this wasn't a religious project for them. And it often isn't now. So by them I mean the Zionists who he's referring to here. Checking some of your comments. Reading your comments when Zionists. I don't know what. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. Oh, by the way, oh my God. Huda London Mental Health and Crime just gifted 50 memberships. 50 memberships. Oh my God. 50. I was sitting there reading the comments and I said, it looked like 50? Huda. Shukran, jazilan, shukran katir. Wow. I'm without words, y'all. This is so beautiful. Thank you. The work that we're doing here at the channel is important. I do believe it's powerful. I do believe, and we can do so much more with your support, and the support that Huda just offered has my head spinning. Has my head spinning. I'm so grateful. I mean, don't say don't keep your 5. No, girl, them is we need all of them. We need everything we could get. So anybody up there, if you got them to share them, please. But what we got just now has been amazing and beautiful. Whew. Huda, just thank you. I can't tell you how much it means that we can be able to, one, to distribute that many memberships out, but two, that we can. It's just beautiful. I'm just grateful. We'll take a quick 30-second break and come right back. Right, you make her happy, so you'll be all right.
And happy wife normally is about happy life for me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It ain't about her; it's about you.
So Van says that because Jewish people showed up for Black Americans during the Civil Rights era, he now feels compelled to stand with them now. Let me be clear.
What's the white liberal ideology I'm following?
I'm not saying you.
No, that's what you said. So I'm saying, which one?
No one is free until we are all free. There's no room for any injustice.
Welcome back to the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, man. We just killing tonight, man. I'm so grateful. Beyond Ebony just donated 5 memberships. Sister, thank you so much. I need y'all to understand, whether you donate 5 or whether you donate 50 or whether you donate 5,000 memberships, like, I appreciate all of it. It all matters. It all means something. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. I can't even tell you. Karen D said, now Mark needs some salt and vinegar chips to recover. Yes, now y'all speaking. You give me some salt and vinegar chips, yo. Man, my night will be perfect. But yo, the gifts of the of the memberships again. I just want to show y'all one more time. Huda London Mental Health and Crime gifted us 50 memberships. Yo, it's such a blessing, and I'm so grateful. I can't even tell you how grateful that I am about that. So I'm gonna talk to y'all about it later, because I got to move on to another story. But yo, I am appreciative. All right. Black Lives Matter activist DeRay McKesson's appeal was dismissed by the Supreme Court. If you don't know DeRay, you may know him from his blue vest, his presence on social media, his visibility, hyper visibility during the Ferguson uprisings. He is a prominent person. You know, I said Black Lives Matter activist. I should say, I think it would be more appropriate to say maybe movement for Black Lives activist. He's certainly an activist who fights for Black lives, but he is not a member of BLM and never was a member of BLM to my knowledge. So I want to make sure I represent DeRay properly. But he led a protest in Baton Rouge back in 2016 following the killing of Alton Sterling by police. And during that protest, an unidentified person threw a rock at a police officer, causing the injured officer to file a lawsuit against McKesson. Now, DeRay McKesson and the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, argued that his actions leading the protest are protected under the First Amendment. Again, he's basically saying, Mr. Officer, you got hit with a rock at at a protest that I'm in, and maybe even that I led, but that doesn't mean that suddenly you could sue me because I have a First Amendment right to be here. It's not like I was committing a crime. The court refused to hear the case. However, Justice Sonia Sotomayor explained the reason being that a recent ruling with similar issues may work in McKesson's favor. McKesson's lawyers expected to win in the lower courts. I am shocked that they didn't win in the lower courts. I think the idea that DeRay is being dragged through the courts because someone got hit during a protest. Now, if he led a march and said, let's go hit some officers, that'd be different. If he led a march that created a reasonable expectation of unsafety that was foreseeable and preventable, then sure. But y'all up here acting as if he did this. It's fascinating, man. Alton Sterling got killed by the police, and we've still never had a real conversation about making his family whole. We've never had a real conversation about police violence in Louisiana. But we got room to have smoke for DeRay. The officer says that DeRay was negligent under Louisiana law by failing to foresee that the protest could lead to violence. The lawsuit says the officer lost teeth and suffered a brain injury. First of all, I don't know if the officer's telling the truth or not, but I find that people who have these dramatic and extravagant claims about injuries, they be exaggerating. At least the police, they be lying. But let's say the guy did lose a tooth or teeth. I mean, that's a lot. And suffered a brain. I mean, it's an awful thing. I hope that did not happen to the officer. I hope the officer has no long-term physical damage. I don't want that for anybody. But if he does, how the hell is DeRay supposed to foresee that? Unless you just make the case that, well, all protests could have violence. All protests could have violent resistance and interactions with the police that are less than warm and fuzzy. Does that mean that anybody who organizes a protest is now liable? That seems unfair. That seems unreasonable. But that's sort of the point. They want to make it so that people are afraid to assemble. They want to make it so that people are afraid to come together. That's the whole point. And I wish I could say that it's an ineffective strategy, but it's not. It's not. People do it because it works. The state is increasingly cracking down on radical forms of resistance, on public demonstrations against the state. They're basically trying to go back to a McCarthy era. That's why Jody Dean was, suspended at Hobart William Smith colleges. That's why this young woman who was the valedictorian, Esna Tebessem, that suddenly now she can't even get a job. I mean, she can't even get on the stage and give a speech. It's because there's a new McCarthyism out there. And yeah, the right acts like they're the victims of cancel culture and they can't be heard and they're being silenced and blah, 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 blah. But the truth is, that's not what's happening. There's far more of a crackdown on the left than on the right now. And I'm not trying to have an oppression derby here. I'm not trying to have a fight over who's got it worse. But what I do have to say is all these cancel culture people ain't said nothing about Palestine. They complained about all the cancel culture in the university. They wrote letters. They did all this stuff. They ain't saying nothing about Palestine. All the people that love tiki torches and screaming racist slogans in Charlottesville, they ain't got nothing to say about DeRay McKesson right now. They're not saying, well, we need to fight for DeRay's right to say it like they do. But when a racist says something, they always say, well, he might have said something I don't agree with, but the racist has the right to say racist things. Well, why didn't DeRay have a right to organize a march? DeRay didn't say anything violent. He didn't say anything that caused violence. He simply organized a protest where there were racist people. I see some of y'all saying stuff about DeRay in the comments. That's between y'all and DeRay. Whether you like DeRay or don't like DeRay, it shouldn't be the point. Even if you don't like the brother, you want him to be liable for organizing a protest. Even if you take your own, and we get too all involved in the personalities and the pettiness and the ego of this, man. Forget all that. Forget all that. Whether you like them, love them, hate them, whatever, this is wrong. And we can't allow these precedents to happen. We got to do better, y'all. We absolutely got to do better. Speaking of doing better, Angel of Redemption just dropped 10 memberships. And Olivia Garnett just dropped 5 memberships. And Kime Aboyade Acosta just dropped 5 memberships. And Jeffaholics just dropped 5 memberships. And Chad Zichterman just dropped 5 memberships. And Jennifer Serenity just dropped 5 memberships. And again, my sister Beyond Ebony just dropped 5 memberships. And one more time, Huda London Mental Health and Crime dropped 50. She on some Drake shit. You drop and give me 50. She gave me 50 memberships, yo. I'm without words, y'all. I'm so grateful for the love and support I get in this community. Anyway, I'm going to run. We got more to talk about tomorrow. But please keep the faith. Please keep building. Please keep organizing. And as we see the silence in our communities, I'm talking about our academic communities and the universities, we have to stand up and speak out, not just to save the bourgeois middle-class jobs of university professors. I mean, we need our jobs. I ain't gonna hold you. I need mine. But the truth is, if we don't struggle to protect spaces of resistance and critical integrity, I mean, that's the whole point of the university. That's the whole point of tenure, that I can make unpopular claims, that I can make changes in how we think, and that I can challenge the status quo. And if we can't do that, because you get punished every time you write a blog that somebody don't like, and the truth is, the people who should be doing the loudest barking right now aren't the people who are pro-Palestinian, or the people who are pro-Hamas, or the people who are anti-Israel, or the people who are anti-Zion. All that is what it is. Even if you hate Palestine, even if you hate Muslim academics, you should be out here fighting for Esna Tebessem. You should be out here fighting for Jody Dean, not because you like or love them, but because there's a principle that's bigger than you. And even if you disagree with them, no, especially because you disagree with them, you should be fighting for their freedom, their space, their affirmation as legitimate participants in a civil discourse. Doesn't mean you got to endorse their ideas. It just means you have to endorse their right to articulate those ideas. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna run. Hit that like button. Let the algorithms know you rocking with us. Hit the subscribe button so you can help us expand the tribe, and also you can get live updates. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you can get live updates. Hit subscribe first, then hit that bell so you can get live updates for when we drop new content. Every night, though, I'm here Monday to Friday on Night School. I know before I told you Monday to Thursday. You know what I said this last week? I'm going to add Friday. And the first time I added Friday, what did I get? We got Yvette Carnell with a dope conversation. Go back and check out that conversation with Yvette Carnell from last Friday. That's what we're doing here, Monday to Friday. And then if you're so inclined, hit the join button. I know they're giving out memberships like Crazy Eddie over here, but like if you don't have a membership or you want to support and buy your own membership or buy memberships for other people, click the join button and grab a membership from the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel to become Marc Lamont Hill fam. Also, some of you have bronze accounts and you've been talking about updating. If you have a bronze account, you can upgrade to a silver account right now. If you have a silver account, you can upgrade to a gold account right now. And that also helps us build this. And look, I hope y'all don't think that I'm out here just doing this to get paid. Almost all the money goes right back into building a studio, into paying my staff, into paying for an editor, to paying for a producer, paying for people who find stories. This is not a lucrative business. I just want to be able to create the infrastructure so that we can protect and preserve independent media voices. That's all. I don't have a billionaire writing me a check. I don't have a network writing me a check. I don't have a sponsor writing me a check. Everything I do comes out of the pocket, and I'm just trying to lighten my pockets a little bit so we can do different kinds of work. But stay with me because in 15 minutes, right before midnight, I'm going to do the Gaza update. So please look out for the Gaza update right here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. And after that, we might do some office hours. The way y'all done spent money, man, I might just do office hours tonight, members only. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace.